All right, everybody, it's game week. Here are some of the top takeaways from Hallis Hall on Tuesday, and also what I heard from Minnesota Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell. Let's get right into it.
Bend over to your right. What the was that?
What's up, Bears fans? People want to hear me talk. Welcome back, Bears fans, to another episode of the Nicholas Moriano Show. I'm your host, Nicholas Moriano. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share this Bears YouTube channel with all your fellow Bears fans. We have made it. It's preparation for week one, Bears-Vikings, Monday Night Football. We did it. Congrats. There'll be a football game played on Thursday. All you football fanatics like myself, this is it. We've made it. So really looking forward to everything that comes out this week. And we already have some news and nuggets just to talk about. From Hallis Hall, Ben Johnson spoke. I wasn't able to be at Hallis Hall today, but there are some takeaways from the locker room, some media availability. And then also I was listening to just the Minnesota Vikings side of things and just wanted to share some updates that I heard from, a YouTube segment with Kevin O'Connell that actually aired not too long ago on Tuesday. So get to share some nuggets from that. Really quickly before I get into any football talk, last episode I was telling you all that I was the best man in a wedding. I don't want to come off as bragging, but the best man speech, I nailed it. If that's what people said, at least. Maybe they're being nice, but got my opportunity. Got on the mic, said what I needed to say. I had it all written down, so it wasn't like I memorized things, but felt good. I think it hit home with some sentimental things, some jabs at the groom, but was able to pull that off. So fun time at the wedding, and I, just wish my buddy Parker and his now wife Rachel all the best. They're about to go on a honeymoon, so that was a lot of fun. But now here's also some more fun for everybody else. Bears-Vikings. What you need to know. So just kind of reading and listening to the press conferences, as I think maybe don't know, maybe, you're at work, whatever it may be, but the Bears did announce their team captains for 2025. And you do have Cairo Santos as your special teams. You have on offense, Caleb Williams, Joe Thuney, and then you have Kevin Byard and also Grady Jarrett. To me, there's really no surprises there. If anything, the biggest surprise defensively is maybe that Jaylon Johnson isn't one of your captains on defense. You have Kevin Byard and then the newcomer Grady Jarrett, first year with the Bears. But other than that, not too many surprises on who's the captains and why the Bears made the decision. They'll also have an honorary captain each and every week there as well. So, again, not too glaring of who the Bears end up selecting there. And again, it's voted on by the players. Also not surprising is that Braxton Jones was named the starting left tackle for the Chicago Bears. And I think when you think about it, it was a move that everybody should have seen coming, especially if you watch the final two preseason games. Braxton Jones was the one getting the starting reps with the first team offense against Buffalo, also against Kansas City. So it was something that you should have seen coming. But what Ben Johnson had to say was that for Braxton Jones being the left tackle, he's like, he knows what he's doing. Is it perfect every day? No, it's not. But we did see the execution go up over the course of the last few weeks. There's a trust level in him knowing what to do. We think that he's going to continue to ascend the more reps that he gets. Comfortability, trust level right now. I think that that plays, especially for week one, going up against a Brian Flores level defense. And Ben Johnson's been really transparent about if the play is not up to that standard, they'll make a switch if they have to. So we'll see if that ends up being the case here with the left tackle situation. But no surprise, Braxton Jones is the week 1 starter. I'm not going to get into everything here that Ben Johnson said in his 7 minutes of availability, but what I do want to share really quickly, and I do have a quote graphic here to kind of go through, is just the production that Ben Johnson has had as a coordinator against a Vikings defense. How much of that is applicable to this week? And I think this is a good answer by Ben Johnson, and just to see like what it is that, how Ben Johnson's viewing this. And we're actually going to go into this view right here. This is what Ben had to say. We're a completely different team. I've been saying that all along. It'd be easy to just copy and paste a plan from the past, but that's just not the case. It's not who we are. That's not what we're going to do. We have some things that we feel really good about, getting our guys in space, potentially, and letting them go to work. But I always go back. First game of the season, regardless of who you're playing, it comes down to the fundamentals, the techniques, and who can do the little things right. Communication needs to be on the same page. I think that's where this defense in particular stresses an offense. They try to create a lot of one-on-ones, and all it takes is one guy to lose his one-on-one and a negative play happens. We're going to focus on our details and playing sound football. So I really do believe that both coaches are really approaching it this way, in the fact that you just need to do the fundamentals right, especially in week 1. And that really does goes back to communication, because some of the takeaways that I have from Kevin O'Connell echo those same type of remarks that Ben Johnson had when answering this question about copy and pasting a game plan. Like, can you do that? And it's just not the same. Ben Johnson also said that, Brian, or maybe it was even Kevin O'Connell, that you adapt your defense each and every season. It's going to be different even this year, given your personnel and who you're going against. And knowing that how badly it was the last time a Brian Flores-led defense faced Ben Johnson. It wasn't even a competition in that game. Was it in Minnesota, I believe? Late in the season for the division? Not even close. So there's going to be some alterations to how you're going to face Ben Johnson, how Ben Johnson's going to face Brian Flores, and vice versa. So I thought that was a good answer from Ben, just detailing that you just can't copy and paste, do what you've been doing, even though you've had success. I'm sure there's wrinkles that are going to be fundamental in how they're going to approach Brian Flores, but you still got to adapt to your own personnel. Let's go really quickly now to Braxton Jones, because he also spoke to reporters in the locker room today. And he was asked about, and this was prior to, I believe this was prior to Braxton Jones actually being named starter. So he was asked about clearing the mental hurdles of the injury and not thinking about it when he's out there. And this is what Braxton Jones had to say. I should have had a quote board for this, but Braxton Jones said, currently battling a cold right now, which sucks, but here's what Braxton Jones said. Honestly, when I'm out there, I'm not even like the mental thing. It's just, to me, it's more of a physical thing. But, it's getting there. It's there. It's honestly a muscle and brain thing, connecting the tissues, and just making sure my leg is working at the same pace as everything else. So that's all it is, just kind of mirroring the two. Other than that, in terms of the mental aspect, I feel like when I'm playing, I'm just playing. That's good that Braxton Jones, after the Week 16 injury against the Detroit Lions, horrific injury. Mentally, he's good. Physically, like you just said, there's still a work in progress there. So he was asked, Braxton Jones, what are the last physical boxes you need to check? Here's what Braxton Jones had to say. Just the power outputage. I just want more power through the leg and just more efficient. And sometimes, honestly, my left leg's doing a little bit more right now than my right, but just making sure it's the same and getting that going. So, guys, this is the thing. Like, Braxton Jones is not 100% healthy, but in Ben Johnson's eyes, he still gives the team the best chance of success, especially early on this season. And that's just something that the Bears are going to have to manage, deal with, however you want to put it, with the left tackle spot. Clearly, Ozzie Trapillo wasn't ready. going from, playing at right tackle in Boston College last year, then going left tackle here initially with the Bears, then going back to right. Then you have Theo Benedict, who started to get some reps with the first team offense, but clearly he isn't at that position where Ben Johnson feels comfortable with him at this point. So Braxton Jones is your starter, even though he's not 100% healthy. But he did also say he's ready for this. He's been ready, and we'll just have to see if he's ready come Monday night against Brian Flores, knowing, and I'm sure Brian Flores, that defense, understands what Braxton Jones has been dealing with. Just the Bears situation in general. They just named the starter. We'll see how it all really plays out. The other big news topic from House Hall is just the status of Jaylon Johnson. And Jaylen did reveal that it was a freak accident that had happened in the offseason, as he was just kind of going through normal workouts, DB workouts. And this was also with some of the other cornerbacks at the time, if I'm not mistaken. Cornerbacks were working with a group of receivers. And he called it a freak accident, but he did know when it happened that he was going to be out for some time because of the amount of pain that he felt. And right now, Jaylen Johnson's still going through this, seeing if he's even going to be able to go on Monday night. And while Johnson didn't rule out the possibility of playing, it kind of, I don't want to say long shot is like the right words, but he just does have to get his conditioning back, and you can't get that without actually getting reps, just putting the pads on for the first time in what's been a while. So here's what Johnson had to say to reporters. I like to say I can go out there and play, but I mean, it's definitely hard to. Johnson said, I feel like if we had a game today, this on Tuesday, it wouldn't be a thing. But I think really this week will be important for me to get the pads back on, get practices under my belt, game speed, moving around, covering guys, communicating. I think that all will help me. But again, there's not too much you can replicate in the game. So that's a real ongoing issue, right? Just the status of Jaylon Johnson. Will he be able to go? Will his conditioning be up to par? Will his communication be up to par? Will his, lower leg injury even be good to go by Monday night? And if it isn't, you're asking a lot of Tyreek Stevenson, Deshaun Wright, guys that really step up covering what was Justin Jefferson just recently in the top 100, number 6 overall, one of the best players in the NFL. And you're not going to have Jordan Addison suspended. Adam Thielen's coming back. So they have weapons. And you have a first-year starting quarterback in the NFL in J.J. McCarthy playing his first regular season game. I have a feeling he's going to want to go to Justin Jefferson. Just a hunch. So we'll have to monitor that from, good old Jaylon Johnson, see if he's ready to go, how much he can go. Even if he plays on Monday night, how much does he play? That's also something to be aware of as we're kind of approaching Monday Night Football between the Bears and Vikings. All right, this is a good time to take a quick break before I get into what Kevin O'Connell said on, the X and O's with Kevin O'Connell on the Minnesota Vikings YouTube channel with Paul Allen. So here, before we get to that, I got to tell you about some sponsors and my good friends at Windy City Sports Cards. They specialize in buying and selling all things related to Chicago sports, whether you're a diehard fan of the Bears, Bulls, Cubs, White Sox, or Blackhawks. You know they've got you covered with an extensive selection of sports memorabilia and collectibles. In addition to those Chicago-focused items, everybody, they also offer a vast collection of sports trading cards and memorabilia from your favorite teams and players. Visit their online store to find exactly what you're looking for to complete your collection or to discover a new favorite. Check them out at 312-WindyCitySportsCards.com. That's 312-WindyCitySportsCards.com. And of course, you got to check out Triumph Drinks. And Look, like Ben Johnson is going to make it happen this season, you guys made this happen. Triumph Drinks is back for another month because of your support. And to celebrate, look, they gave us an even better deal. Let's show them love for supporting the show with code NICK, N-I-C-K, for 25% off your order. Triumph is clean. It tastes amazing. No sugar, no artificial ingredients. So thank you guys for making this possible. Now enjoy 25% off with the code NICK, N-I-C-K. That's triumphdrinks.com. Appreciate everybody who's been using Triumph Drinks, trying it. I have it right over my shoulder here. Love it when I'm working out after a long weekend, wedding weekend. Perfect thing to rehydrate. So check out Triumph Drinks and use that code NICK, N-I-C-K, to save 25% off your next purchase. All right, everybody, this is the Nicholas Moriano Show. I'm your host, Nicholas Moriano. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment. We're also on, obviously, you're watching on YouTube, but audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music. You can find the show there. So let's get into what I heard from Kevin O'Connell, X and O's, Minnesota Vikings YouTube channel. Just want to make sure I have the complete name of the show. The episode title is J.J. McCarthy's Preparation, Quarterback Room, and Bears Preview. X and O's with Kevin O'Connell, Minnesota Vikings YouTube channel. So like I say, join Paul Allen. And I don't have exact quotes, just paraphrase, bullet points for you guys, just to kind of illustrate what was said, some important takeaways, things like that. Paul Allen asked Kevin O'Connell when he started preparing. Kevin O'Connell, the Vikings, started preparing for the Bears. He said right before the Tennessee Titans game, which would have been on August 22nd. I know the Bears have said, like, even last week that it was just about them, but I want to say that although that may be true, I'm sure they've already looked into a lot of Minnesota Vikings tape, what it's going to take, what that team's bringing, and how to prepare. But that's when the Vikings started preparing for the Bears, right before the Tennessee Titans, their preseason game with Tennessee Titans, which was on August 22nd. And now what's important for week one, according to O'Connell, you have to be prepared for unscouted looks. Nobody's showing their hand in the preseason, according to O'Connell, and make sure the principles are set and maintained. That was a very similar response to what Ben Johnson said about repeating production against a Brian Flores-led defense. You just got to get the little things right. Same thing here. Everything that anybody has shown in preseason, nobody's showing anything, though. Like, you're running plays, and maybe there are some core concepts there, but nothing's going to show your hand for week one. Just nothing. So there's that. Here's what Kevin O'Connell had to say on J.J. McCarthy. He's had a really good training camp. Joint practices, had some really good work there. O'Connell's also liked the way he's handled it to this point from spring until now. And we just need to make it about not just him, but the entire team up to this point. So for JJ, there's a lot of pressure, I would say, on him, making his first start Monday Night Football on the road against the Chicago Bears. Like, that's a big moment for him. And obviously a guy that's played in big games as well, and he's probably been anticipating this moment for his entire life, and well, now he's going to get it. And I think just listening to Kevin O'Connell talk about J.J. McCarthy, he feels like he's ready for this moment. So we'll see. Not a rookie, but a first-year starter is ready to go to Soldier Field to face a Dennis Allen defense, which I'm really looking forward to watching myself. Paul Allen, also who did the interview with Kevin O'Connell, asked O'Connell how he felt for his first game as a head coach in reference to, how Ben Johnson may be feeling as his first game as head coach. O'Connell said you can quiet a lot of the nerves with your preparation. He said he felt prepared for that moment. I believe O'Connell's first game was against the Green Bay Packers years ago, but you're going to react in the moment to things that you haven't done before. You reference like challenges. He referenced that after that first scoring drive that the Vikings had against the Packers, he automatically wanted to go to, the tablet, look over things like he would as a offensive coordinator. However, can't always do that as a head coach. You're monitoring so much more. Challenges, penalties, time usage, all these different things. So that's how it was different. But the preparation is what will calm that noise, quiet things down when you're going into that first start as a head coach. He was also asked, O'Connell, how often he and Brian Flores meet, just to, again, understand. And he was asked that by, I believe it was a fan question, called in, left that question, which I appreciate, just kind of getting an understanding of how a head coach meets with his defensive coordinator. Maybe that same thing applies with Ben Johnson, Dennis Allen. But here's what O'Connell had to say each and every week. And they actually talk about each other's game plans. And O'Connell said some of his best plays for the offense have actually come from talking with Flores about certain schemes, concepts. And after having those discussions, they've had a lot of success with some of their bigger plays, O'Connell was saying. So interesting little note there. But they just spent a good amount of time together. They come from that Belichick tree way back when. And that's how often those two meet. And, I think having that collaboration and also being on the same page with your defense, how you're going to approach a game plan, is how O'Connell's going to approach it from an offense. If everyone's on the same page, I think that leads to less confusion on game day. So meet quite often. The D-line depth, O'Connell was asked about, and he brought up obviously Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave, new additions to this Vikings defensive line, which is going to make things a lot tougher when you have Grenard and you have Van Ginkel, guys like that, and then you have the two guys on the interior. It's a force to be reckoned with, and it just creates a lot more complications, especially when you have Brian Flores and what he can do defensively. But he said about those two, Allen and Hargrave, brought playmaking to the interior, and it's not just the assignment, guys that are veterans in this league. So it's going to be a tough challenge for the new revamped interior offensive line for the Bears, but just the entire offensive line in general. And last two things I have nuggets on here from that interview that Kevin O'Connell did with Paul Allen on X and O's Minnesota Vikings YouTube channel. He was asked about O'Connell, Caleb Williams, sacked 68 times. Do you expect more of the quick game? And here's some bullet points of what O'Connell had to say. You're going to see good principles of offense. Some plays that are coming out quick. Mention that the Bears have some good playmakers. And just how many times can the Bears put the ball in play and find positive success? O'Connell said he does know play action is going to be critical. And I believe critical is the word that he used for them. And with a guy like Caleb Williams, you have to defend through the duration of the down. Because as we know, Caleb Williams is somebody that can extend plays. Well, if he gets outside the pocket, there are things that he can do that not many other quarterbacks can do. But the defense is going to be prepared for that, knowing that it's just not inside the pocket. You got to worry about Caleb. It's everything else that comes with it. So sounds like O'Connell's instilling that into his defense. Brian Flores is obviously monitoring that as well. So we'll see if who wins that matchup between Caleb Williams able to extend plays. Obviously, win from the pocket is going to be huge, but that's going to be a matchup I'll be watching out for. And then actually, the last one, he was asked how deeply are you sweating the injuries. I have to go and look into exactly what the injuries are looking like for Minnesota at this point, but O'Connell just said everybody has their individual situations. We will get our team prepared, and he feels that the Vikings have a pretty deep team at this point in time. But guys, that's what we're kind of looking at from the start of the week here. We had some media availability virtually with the Bears, with Drew Dahlman and Tremaine Edmonds. But that's what's been what you need to know up to this point early on in the week. I'll actually be at House Hall tomorrow, back in the locker room. Looking forward to that. The first time for me for the 2025 season, so that'll be a good time as well. So there are going to be plenty more Bears content coming to you throughout the rest of this week. And now you're up to date from what we heard at House Hall today and what I heard just listening to the other side of things from the Minnesota Vikings and Kevin O'Connell. So that's going to do it for this episode. Quicker one. Like I said, there's going to be plenty more Bears content throughout the week. But until next time, you guys, I need you to do a couple of things. One, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment on this Bears YouTube channel. Check out, if you haven't already, Windy City Sports Cards. They're helping me sponsor my content throughout the entire Bears 2025 season, and so is Triumph Drinks. So if you haven't already, look, this video is powered by Triumph, the hydrogen-infused electrolyte drink that keeps you going strong. Use that code Nick, you get 25% off now. Stuff tastes amazing. It's good for you, and you can get it at triumphdrinks.com. But I appreciate everyone for tuning in, hanging out. But if I got you that first time, you thought I was ending the show, this is for real. I'll see you guys tomorrow for what should be another news-filled day from House Hall and just Bears news that you need to know prior to the Week 1 matchup on Monday Night Football against the Minnesota Vikings. All right, you guys, take care. See you later.
Bend over to your right. What the was that?
What's up, Bears fans? People want to hear me talk.